you.
Koja je šifra za login? U stvari imamo.
Okej.
Aha. Tako se
Studio za autore.
Da, da.
Ima. Mišo, da li je vodu snimati? Može.
da se klasimo.
Vodu daj samo ovim ljudima. Snimati ima.
Šta ne puštamo?
Da. Samo reći kad.
Evo, krećemo.
It's certainly a fast pitch, probably. That's probably going to suit the Russians, who seem to be pretty small pitch. So we're here in the Serbian capital at the home of the Red Star Sporting Society. Uninterrupted coverage from proper sport and lifestyle introduction. It's an interesting fixture. Two relatively unknown clubs in the league parameters. We're almost ready to kick off now. We don't know much about this Russian team. We both know the Red Star team. Brett, we've worked with some of these boys at representative level. What can we expect of the Red Star today?
I think they do all
Mislim, možda ovaj deo mamo, ali...
Koja je većina?
Nek snima storija. Nek snima storija Marijana. This is na kameri.
I started
To je
playing when I was 4 years old.
poezija.
And again, these guys have been playing for 20, 30 years.
Ti moj mobil mislim.
And there's so much knowledge and experience to be gained. And from what I've seen of the guys, they're more than happy to give it up. So it makes a big difference bringing guys that have played for their whole life over most definitely. It makes a huge difference in what we're trying to achieve.
So is there a chance, I mean, you've obviously come over from Australia to work with the Serbian national team structure within the federation. There's a chance that someone with your level of experience could do some work with some of the clubs, maybe with Partizan Niš.
100%. I'm here. I haven't just come just to coach the national team. I've come to try and develop this sport internationally. And from what I've seen here, the Serbian they're a major driver across Europe. And the game is, let's look at England, Australia, New Zealand at the top of their game. There's nowhere else to go. They're maxed out. Here, it's so exciting, the potential that's here. And what I've seen of these guys is that the passion is unbelievable. So as I see it, I'm not here just to coach the national side. I'm here to develop this and take this to another level. Schools, community, everything we can do to get more people playing this. And it's going to be about exposure. It's going to be about getting this out there. And who knows where it can go, but the potential is enormous.
Definitely. So for those of you just joining us, welcome to the Serbian capital of Belgrade, the Slavic Challenge Rugby League clash between Red Star Belgrade and Spartak Moskva, brought to you by Proper Sport and Red Kangaroo Productions. I'm Matt Pullen, with me is Serbian coach Brett Davidson. Kick-off's nearly upon us. I'd like to predict what we can expect to see in the next 10 minutes or so, but frankly I don't know what to expect. Brett, I mean, a lot of our viewers will be looking for a classic structure, 10 minutes, the wrestle and all this.
Yeah. I think that's what we will. I think that's what we'll get from Red Star. And as you said, we don't know much about what's happening with the Russian side. They look young. They look nimble and agile, but we'll see. We're going to find out in a couple of minutes where we're going with this.
Yeah. We'll see how they handle the Red Star big boys in the middle. I mean, they've got quite a big pack, Red Star. So I'd like to go through the players actually. We've got their lineups here. Red Star obviously in their change strip in the blue kit. Number 1, we've got Miloš Zogovic. Number 2, I think, yeah, Ilija Krstic. Number 4 is Petar Milanovic. 3, Predrag Keglic. Number 5, Rajko Trifunovic. In the halves, Jack O'Brien and Vojislav Dedic, this is his first game back this season. I'm looking forward to. And we're underway. First drive. Good work. And so yeah, the props, we've got Danilo Kosanovic and Sam Heron for Red Star. Oh, and he's straight into touch. Not a good start for the Russians there. Couldn't complete that first set. That's important. And Red Star will go straight on the attack. So we've immediately lost a pattern there. In the second row for Red Star, we've got Alexander Djordjevic, Nikola Djuric, loose forward Stefan Nedeljkovic, and on the bench Milos Čalić, Slobodan Manek, Matej Bajic, and Marko Jankovic. Let's have a look at this scrum, see where we go from here. Red Star not messing about, going straight from the scrum, straight into an attacking flair. It's good to see him using the scrum to get a bit of width there.
Definitely, you get some space during the scrum, the most space you're going to get during the game, so it's always good to try and use something, you can try something.
Oh, well, the look of the Russians have survived there. Red Star seem to get a bit confused with their own runners there. So let's announce this Russian, the Spartak team. At fullback we've got Andrei Lavrushin, on the wings Maxim Korshunov and Ivan Tarasov. In the centres, Andrei Perin, Egor Shustov. Halves, Alexei Lenov and Artem Kruglov. Props, Ilya Alifov and Vladislav Zotov. Hooker Bula Sabirov. Second rows, Vladislav Kot and Alexander Maximenko. And loose forward, Nikita Kuznetsov. And on the bench, Matvian Draženov, Igor Solov, Nikita Tunov and Mikhailo Protic. So we've seen it, immediately Red Star went on the attack. Now we'll see if the Russians can complete a set and get out of here and maybe settle into the game a bit. Nice step there.
Great step.
So as you say, small, agile players here. They've already stepped in the Red Star big boys. Play it. Scooting there. So yeah, as we say, these Russian boys are small, but we don't know what sort of experience they have. There might be some junior internationals in there. We haven't been given any information. We don't really know anything about the Spartak team. There's the last. No pressure on the kicker. Gets it away. And here's Milos Zogovic. And he is one of the most exciting players in the serve game. Knocked down. What's the referee going to say?
Knocked down from Red Star, from Moscow, I think.
No, he's judging it a Red Star knock on. It was deliberate. It was blatantly knocked out of his hands there. But now we'll have the Russian team with some good ball.
Good position to attack now.
On himself, good contact. He felt that, did the lad?
Definitely. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think Jack O'Brien got a really good fair hit there on the half back, and that unnerved them a bit. And now Red Star have survived that foray into their half. It's a hot day here. I think that'll affect the Russians more than the Serbs.
Or maybe the other way around. There's some big boys we've got in the Red Star side.
Not a good ball. It's Nikola Djuric taking it up. Good defence. There's Danilo Kosanovic, long-serving prop in the Serbian league. He's played for the Tashmayan Tigers before. Ball from O'Brien and on that far side we've got an interesting combination there in the flank. We've got the second row, that's Alexander Djordjevic in the centre, Pedro Kelic. They're both dual internationals, rugby union experience. Keglic, I think, plays club in France.
Both very impressive. Both very impressive from the transition they've made, from what I can see. We've had them in the Serbian and the national side for a few games, and they seem to be handling it well, and they're ultimate professionals.
Yeah, they're confusion there. They didn't know what they were doing, and it's resulted in a knock-on, and we'll expect maybe Red Star to turn the screw here. Definitely got an opportunity to do so.
I think this is one of the first hit-outs for both of the sides this season.
Yeah, well,
so
since we've had since the summer break, this is the first hit-out.
So it's going to be, you're going to see a little bit of this stuff where they're still trying to find the patterns and who's who, where's running, what's happening. So it could be a little bit messy at the start, but I'm sure it'll clean up closer to the end.
Stefan Nedeljkovic, and he's had that knocked out, but fairly, and they'll play on. No advantage from the knock-on, and so he's judged it hasn't been knocked out, but rather it's been a loose carry and knocked on.
And this is what you usually get: first hit-outs of the season. You're going to get some errors.
Yeah, and it's inevitable. I mean, as we say, they've come off a 2-month summer break. As you know, in this part of the world, we don't really play much in the summer, so the heat. Red Stars now, obviously, this is a part of their preparation for the culmination of the domestic and the Balkan leagues. I don't know why that's the second time I've seen him wait for that play the ball. He doesn't seem to understand the importance of the speed of the play the ball. And that's what we've found when we've seen these clubs from this region play against somebody from a heartland, that ultimately it's the line speed and play the ball speed.
Well, I think is a lot of this European based, from what I see, is a lot of it stemmed from rugby union.
Yeah.
A lot of the players. So that example is something that comes definitely from rugby union, where they're waiting for the ruck and maul to sort of to join and wait till they're set. So
And so we've got Milos Dogovic in some open space, and he's always difficult to stop when he gets going. Good tackle from the fullback coming on the end. Really wrapped him up. Oh,
Too long, held down too long.
Well, that could have been in danger of getting himself sin-binned for that one. That was a bit of a professional foul. But yeah, good break from little Milos.
In great position now to see what we can do in attack.
Vlada Dedic will be taking a tap. He's another Serbian international, the younger brother of the number 7 Voja Dedic.
And both fantastic players, and will definitely play a part.
Oh, and Sam Terrans. The Scotsman proved unstoppable there. He bumped straight over the first player and in the end scores an easy try. And it was just pure power there, really. He just ran straight over him.
And this is what I think you were getting at before, line speed, especially when you're on your own line, you must get off there. You can't wait.
Yeah, you can't wait, especially when you've got that kind of a player running at you. Sam's from Falkirk in Scotland. He's played for the Scottish under-16s, under-18 students in A grade. And he played at Mittagong in Australia.
Mittagong?
Yeah, won the grand final in Group 6 in Mittagong. And he's also played for East House Panthers in Scotland and Cardiff City in Wales. And you know, he's been at Red Star now this season, and he's definitely helped to up the standards in the pack with his hard running. Oh, unexpected. Hits the crossbar there with his first attempt. So it's 4-0 to Red Star. If you're just joining us, this is Red Star Belgrade versus Spartak Moskva, brought to you by Proper Sport and Red Kangaroo Productions. It's 4-0 to Red Star. The Russians held their own, they defended okay, but in the end, it was a hard running, caught them off guard.
Great.
Did he catch that? Brilliant take from Petr Milanovic, the Red Star centre. And the Russians all offside there. And Red Star will immediately be back on the attack. So straight after points, they're on the attack again. So again, an opportunity for a bit of a set play here. We'll see what's on. So Vlada Dedic out the back to Nikola Djuric with a step and a fend. Draws in 3 defenders. Quick play the ball, did well. And there's a second drive. Big prop. See what sort of play the ball speed he can get. Also fishes with an attacking win. He's got options inside now. Oh! And Milos Dogovic there, slightly overrunning the pass perhaps, but you know, it was they had plenty of options there.
It was there to be caught.
Yeah. And you can see the Red Star are looking to have that sense of agency in the play of the ball there.
And this is the thing, when you're just coming back from an off-season and starting again, is some of the balls, some of the passes just don't stick.
So Spartak Moscow surviving. They'll have a chance now to clear their lines with a get-out set, as it were, straight from the base of the scum. No real advantage made.
Great contact there.
Yeah, stopped him in his tracks, but he managed to find the ground early. Again, for some reason slowing down that play of the ball. And good control there, straight on his back.
Yeah. Good groundwork. Again.
It's that same play. That's the 3rd time he's done that. Someone needs to have a word with him about why he's waiting to play the ball. I don't understand. Going on the short side, but he's cutting back to that space behind the markers. And Red Star have managed to contain them well in their 30 with this set. Great defensive set. And the kick. They might want to kick it again. No, well, that set went to pot there for the Russians, and now they've got big Milos Čalić, and he is difficult to stop, as the French will tell you. And a nice offload there for Rajko Trifunovic to score in the corner. That's, I think, Milos has just come on the pitch. That was his first contact, and
fantastic contact it was. I think 3 of them he bumped off, and then a nice offload for Rajko Trifunovic.
Yeah, Rajko Trifunovic there. He's in the Serbian under-21 squad. Yeah. And Milos Čalić, he's a Red Star product, brought up with the club, but now he also plays for the Villeneuve Leopards in the top French league, in the Elite 1 league, and he'll be heading back there probably after this game. But I think I think it's good for the game that we do have those pathway opportunities for local boys.
You must have it not only to develop themselves, but it gives an option, and it gives a dream to other guys that can see that there's somewhere to go. There's somewhere that this can take them, you know. And when they come back with the knowledge and skills they learn going anywhere else, it's invaluable to everyone else.
Definitely, and you know, we're in a country where we've got a lot of team ball sports are very popular here. Serbia, as we know, is in the top 5 in water polo, volleyball, handball, all these sports.
And this is what I see as the beauty of it, is it's a sporting country, and the potential here is enormous moving forward. It's just the exposure. Once this gets out there, and people see this game, they can get hooked. I know everyone I've spoken to or seen that has no idea about this game. Give them a look, give them a little bit of knowledge about it, and this can definitely go somewhere. The potential is enormous, and the guys, not just Serbia, Europe, everywhere, they're built for this. Maybe it could possibly be the little bit of Ludo you need to play the game, but they're made for this game. It's the growth and potential is amazing.
For sure. So we're kicking off again. It's the conversion was missed there. It's 8-0 to Red Star in this.
Great run.
Great run, good tackle. And this is the clash, the Slavic Challenge Rugby League game between Red Star Belgrade and Spartak Moskva. Brought to you by Proper Sport and Red Kangaroo Productions. Red Star now starting, they've got 2 tries, no conversions. There's Sam Herring again, we've seen him run over him already. Nice offload, and another nice offload. And a bit of space now. And Milos Čalić, dummy step, and acceleration, and they won't get to him. And he'll finish it under the sticks. Brilliant individual try from Milos Čalić there.
Fantastic try, and came off the back of second phase play.
It did, and you could see as soon as you get the offloads in open play with a broken defence, you've got somebody with that kind of athleticism. His change of pace, his step.
Very hard to stop.
Yeah.
And when everyone follows through and backing up, the options it creates, this is what it leads.
Milos is a long-term Serbian international. He's played well over 20 games for the Serbian national team. Interestingly, one of 3 players in the Serbian team that was born down in Kosovo and came up here as youngsters with all the troubles down there. Milos started at the Tsar Lazar club in Kruševac. How do you think that with the game, there's a lot of Belgrade concentration around the game now? Do you think across the nation more work needs to be done there
100%. This is in its infancy, I suppose. It's been around for a long time, but possibly not being driven, or it's very hard to do this in a sport that's so young. But the guys like this, they can go back and promote this game, and young guys, young kids can see what they can do, where they can go from this. Again, it's the potential is absolutely enormous, and harnessing it with guys that are from these regional areas, going back there, this is the start.
For sure. It's 14-0 for Red Star, and here's Milos Čalić again, bringing it up hard and strong, and scattering them and finding the ground early. And here's Petar Milanovic, Peter, again breaking the tackles, and again he's going. Russians are struggling to contain these big Red Star players. Quite a fast play the ball, but we've got a space out wide now. Voya to Jack O'Brien, straight to Sam Herron. And
Quick hands would have been nice.
yeah, he was tackled there for it out. And now Voya's looping on that short side. Now he's created numbers, and we've got Atza, Djordjevic too, Predrag Keglic, who scores in the corner there. Yeah. They ended up with a 5-on-3 there. It looked like when Voja just came round and made the extra man on the short side, and O'Brien spotted him. And so that's 18-0 for Red Star. The Russians certainly not pulling out with the contact. They just seem to be struggling to control the ruck in any way. The Red Star, even if they're not getting through, they're at least getting a quick play of the ball, and they haven't been able to get their defence set.
Definitely. I think from what we can see from the Russian side is it's a developing side. It's a young side, and still the techniques, and this is across Europe. The whole board is the techniques, the game sense, game management, all the small basic things are still. There's a lot of work to be done.
Voja did it with the attempted kick. Oh, and a second time today hits the post. And it's 18-0 for Red Star. For anyone just joining us, we're here in Belgrade, the Serbian capital. A beautiful day for this Slavic Challenge Rugby League clash. Red Star Belgrade versus Spartak Moskva. It's 18-0 to Red Star. Brought to you by Proper Sport and Red Kangaroo Productions. And the Russians might want to go along with this kick-off because they've gone short so far and they've had no luck from it whatsoever. No, they're going to the same spot, going to the same side, and Rajko Trivunovic has got a bit of a step and he's got a bit of space now as well. And in the end, a good tackle from number 11 came in, wrapped the ball up. Quick play the ball, Voja Dedic, Nikola Djuric. And the Russians managed to get him on his back, finally. That is Milos Čalić, he's not going to pass. And he's standing, he's still standing. Well, he seemed to play the ball before he was actually tackled there, but Milos Čalić has broken away, and that's his second try. And now the Russians are in trouble of not being able to, in danger of not being able to defend a set. And we know where that goes. It's 22-0. If you were behind those sticks now, what would you be saying to this Spartak team?
That's a great question. Hang in there. I think legs, they're going high on the big guys, and they're getting pushed off, they're getting dropped off. They've got to take legs out, and they've got to do a little bit more groundwork in the tackle. Try and keep them down a little bit longer. The quick play the ball is killing them now. But again, this all comes back to the start of the season, brand new. There's still fitness, conditioning issues.
For sure. Well, obviously, the Russians, the Spartak team, could maybe be well advised to see how far the referee is going to let them go with slowing down this play the ball. They have to slow it down.
You always have to try and test out where you can go, try and find the boundaries.
24-0, successful conversion there from the try scorer himself, Milos Čalić. And now we have a quarter-time water break in this Slavic Challenge Rugby League match, brought to you by Proper Sport and Red Kangaroo Productions. Do you think, we're talking about development, do you think we could be looking more, rather than creating more and more clubs and teams, to actually consolidate the ones we have to make sure they've got depth?
100% consolidation must come.
Well,
you've got to grow what you have to start with, and it's a process. This stuff doesn't happen overnight. This is a process that takes time to get to this level.
Sure. Well, maybe to an extent, it could be looking at the way that the European or world federations reward development areas. Are we rewarding them just for games played and bodies on fields, or are we rewarding them for having deeper links with their local municipalities, with their school systems, you know,
I think
to make
it
sure
has to come back to that. Otherwise, people lose faith in what they're doing if it's not rewarded in that way. So it definitely has to come through community I suppose the biggest thing is where we're at now, being in its infancy, the funding and things like this. You know, it's very hard to get, very hard to take this forward with limited resources.
for sure.
So,
And also we have, I mean, just within this Balkan region, we've seen now this is the second season we've got the Balkan Super League. We see a gulf immediately between the top Serbian clubs and the rest of the region. Red Star, Partizan and Dortmund will only end up beating each other in this Balkan League at the moment. Now going forward, we've got the Emerging Nations Cup that we can see Greece and Turkey have massive potential simply because of their links to Australia. But also, personally, I think it'd be nice to see these top Serbian clubs playing more against the top amateur levels in the UK and maybe the semi-professional level in France, just to gauge where we're at.
definitely, 100% agree. This is where it has to go. To get growth, you have to play against a better competition, and and I think it's very viable. And there is talent here. There can be competition with where this comes. And once it's seen, it's just getting that chance to get your foot in the door and be able to have a go and prove yourself. Then that's when it starts kicking off.
For sure. So it's 24-0. Red Star, they're winning a penalty for not releasing the player after the tackle, and they'll start their set just inside the Spartak half. Vlada Dedic. We've got Nikola Djuric there taking a settler towards the middle, and he's managed to end that one on his front. And it's Petar Milanovic, the centre. He's coming in. He's elusive. He's got a nice fend. And now they're stepping out and going to Voja Dedic. One on to Jack. He's got the inside and the outside. And Atsa Djordjevic there, handled well by the Russians. Full pace. There's Sam Heron. He's already scored and he's difficult. He's hitting a spin and and again power, elusiveness, great balance for a big man as well.
Very nice footwork. Fantastic. The hit and spin.
Yeah, actually, Sam Heron's been over here this season. I think he's a bit wasted at prop, to be honest. I think he's good in a centre or second
wider,
row.
yeah. Could be a lot more benefit.
So we're 28-0 up for Red Star. And again, it'll be Milos Dogovic taking the conversion. So have you been to Mittagong then? Where is that?
I have been to Mittagong. It's probably... I'm born and bred in Canberra, the capital of Australia.
Right.
Mittagong's probably an hour and a half, maybe, out of there. Little country town. It used to be on it was before the main highway went through from Canberra to Sydney. You used to drive through Mittagong to get there. Great competition. The rugby league in the country in Australia is at a great level, really high level. A lot of guys go back to their regions when they finish any sort of career and go back to their roots and start developing and helping out their local teams. So the level in the country is a really high standard. And at that time, Mittagong, they were a force to be reckoned with.
Oh yeah, no, he's no slouch, Sam. He's a good player. It's 30-0 to Red Star after that successful conversion. This Red Star versus Spartak Moskva, brought to you by Proper Sport and Red Kangaroo Productions. And Spartak going to be kicking off again. We'll see if they go a little bit longer. No, I don't think. Is he going to make the 10? It does make the 10, and knocked back surely by Red Star.
Look, I'll say I like this. I'm one for everything we do on the football field is a competition. We try and compete for every stage. Now, off the kickoff, the perfect chance to compete. You put the ball up to the 10, 20 metres, and you're competing against one guy. A whole line of guys are coming through to knock back and get the ball back. That shock tactics, they're not ready for it.
Yep.
And if you look at the rugby union, that's all they do. Their kickoffs are short because the chances of getting, if you can get 50-50 odds anywhere, they're not bad odds to take. You know?
Yeah, traditionally, nice ball, nice line. Oh, nice offload inside.
I'll stop Chucky from here.
Yeah, you try and stop him from here. And he scores again, of course. Inevitably, Milos Čalić. It's 34-0 to Red Star. Yeah, normally in rugby league, obviously the short kick-off will only come in when you're chasing a game.
Yes,
We've
yes.
seen recently that there's been a lot more teams looking to use that opportunity.
It's a viable option. Like I said, 50-50 chance of anything is not bad odds.
Yeah.
So why not? Why not have a go? And again, especially now, you're chasing 30 points or 34 points. There's no harm. There's nothing to lose here.
For sure.
You know, you've got to have a crack.
For sure. No, the Russians are going to be looking to, as you say, use it as a platform to improve their season. As we like to say, you either win or you learn. So they're going to be learning a lot today. By looks of things. As we know earlier this season, game is more or less a response to the game between Partizan and CSKA Moscow. Partizan went over there and were narrowly beaten by the CSKA Moscow team. Do you think that we could see some sort of regular pan-European or pan-Slavic competition?
Look, I'd love this. This is the thing that must happen now. It must happen. If anything, any sport anywhere is to grow, then this is where it needs to go. There must be travel. There must be, you know, joining of clubs from wherever.
It's 36 now to Red Star after that great conversion from Milošević.
And it doesn't just help one country. This is about helping the whole of the European, Asian region to grow this moving forward.
For sure. I mean, the good thing about us being here in Serbia as a centre of the region is we're relatively close to all the countries around.
It's a great spot, like you said. It's central.
Yeah.
And utmost props and respect to the Serbian Rugby League because they are the federation. They're a driver. They're the main driver in Europe, from what I can see, in trying to get games, trying to get fixtures. They're trying to push this everywhere. It's amazing.
Red Star really motoring up the middle. Oh, nice. And Alexander Djordjevic goes in unopposed and will eventually go around under the sticks. It was a nice bit of evasion there, a nice double pump from O'Brien.
But play, and then on the end of it, a straight runner.
But yeah, the props did the job, obviously, up the middle. Really good work. So we spoke about Sam, Red Star's other foreigner is Australian Jack O'Brien. Jack grew up in the South Sydney Rabbitohs system, played for Mascot Jets in South Sydney till he was 18, and then he's played also at Salon de Provence in the French Elite 2, and he played at Hemel Stags in League One in the UK. I think there are a lot of these, I mean, the boys coming out of Sydney, people who are looking to pick up a backpack and play some rugby league and do some travelling.
And what a fantastic idea, you know, why wouldn't you? And along the way, you can actually provide something extra. And this is with rugby league, it becomes it's a brotherhood. It's something you can't get anywhere else. And guys coming from overseas, they come into teams. Once you play once, you're part of these guys, and the respect that flows both ways can grow this and take it to another level. It's a fantastic idea, and there should be more of it.
For sure. I mean, I think we could see it out of, particularly out of those heartland areas, the UK, France and Australia, people who want to be backpacking rugby league pioneers who know the game, who love the game, who play the game, want to come in, whether they want to do some coaching or whether they just want to come and support the clubs.
100%. And I see this now as this is potentially one of the biggest growth areas now, because before it was Australia, England, New Zealand, you know, they're the ultimate three, and there's not much coming. If you're trying to make it in this competition, it's extremely hard to do. But now people are seeing there's actually some great competition throughout Europe and Asia, and now it's somewhere to go. And like you said, if you can make it a backpacking working holiday, but give back, then the potential growth again is amazing.
Jack O'Brien's the first time he's really opened his legs and gone himself, and he ends up setting up Sam Heron for his first half hat-trick.
No beard shaving.
No, that's what actually we said.
Tries,
yes, 3 tries.
He doesn't have to.
No, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
But if he scores a 4th, he has to have a full body wax. I think. So that's 46-0. And yeah, it was. See, Jack O'Brien's been smart about that. He's up to now. He's just passed the ball, and it was the first time he actually injected himself into the line.
And he had options. He had runners in different angles, and that's what makes this is the game that needs to be played.
Yeah, definitely. A little. Yeah. Sorry? Should be soon. Milos Stogovic straight in front of the sticks. No missing there. 48-0.
The hardest thing now for the Russians is to try and stay positive and try and be competitive.
Yeah. I mean, they have to start looking at now every set they complete as a victory and every set they defend as a victory.
100%. They've got to try and take something out of it.
Red Star are going to run riot, and obviously they haven't had to do any defending, so they've got lots of energy in the tanks.
Legs.
So they're sticking to this tactic, and it was well taken by Rajko Trifunovic again, but he was well wrapped up.
Great tackle,
space.
great groundwork, line set.
It's Slobodan Manek.
Found his knees, great quick play the ball again.
He's got inside option, Stefan Nedeljkovic. And it's lost, and the Russians have come up with it. So
Yes, let's see what they can do.
Spartak with some good ball. I don't know what happened there. Did he lose that? Apparently not. Well, they've got a chance. They need to have some runners here. They need to have somebody moving.
And the hardest thing now, there's so much defence they've had to do, and now try and turn into attack.
Oh, he's a big
Good
guy.
run,
Good run
great
from the
drive.
big lad.
Great groundwork from Slobodan.
Well, they've got numbers on this short side actually, but Red Star.
Contact. Good strong run again.
Red Star were waiting for him. It was a bit telegraphed.
And again, waiting.
I don't know why they're waiting for that play of the ball.
I would say, from what I've seen so far, these are a lot of these guys are rugby union based players.
Yeah.
They're waiting to be told to recycle, you know. 6 to go if they get
Was
it
that
back.
played at?
Play
It
on,
was.
6 to go. Yep.
Yeah, he's restarted the tackle count, so back-to-back sets for Spartak, first time in this game.
Great scoop.
He's an elusive runner.
Yeah, got some speed. Hold on to it.
Spartak just 10 metres out now. We've got players in motion.
It's good to see some of the big guys combining.
They'd rather be looking to staying on the short side, but no space there. Fell into the tackle there.
That's a tough one.
That is a
Fell
tough
down,
call.
fell
He
into it.
did fall into it, but Spartak will have a third set
Here we
on
go.
the Red Star line. They might want to get out of there.
He's got
He
great
is
feet,
elusive,
this
he
kid,
has, he has.
Great tackle. Great tackle.
I think the referee had to call held when he was lifted off the ground. And the referees decided to penalise Red Star, but he should have called held as soon as the feet were lifted off the ground. But it'll be another attacking set for Spartak, and they are mounting pressure somehow. He's got himself. Stopped in his tracks. They want to get out of there. And see this
Here
rugby
we go,
union
the
style.
rugby union
That is,
style again. Shown.
pushing his friend over the line. I don't think you're allowed to do that in
Allowed
rugby
to
league.
do that. And that might be a penalty. Or what's he going to, no, he's going to give him a go, yep.
Oh, he's going to let him off. He's going to let him off for not knowing you can't form a ruck or whatever it is, a maul.
Great hit. Is that Raiko off the wing in there?
Raiko's come into the middle to defend, and he got great
Dropped the
contact.
ball.
And then again, yeah, brilliant work. Stefan Nedeljkovic came in as a second man, and they really turned him around and put him on his back. And it all comes to naught. Spartak, they got some field position, got some possession, but not many ideas there. I'm sure it'll come, and
There's a big blindside now coming. Let's see if they have a look at it.
there is plenty of space.
Here we
And they
go.
do go on the blind stand. Here's Milos Zogovic,
Yeah.
and he steps in, and he's
Right
going.
goal.
He's been caught though, and they've managed to wrap him up. Good run, and he's moving well off the mark. But there's Ilya Krstic, one of the junior internationals. And he's penalised him for dangerous contacts on the joints. They said he was trying to twist the ankle there, and immediately penalised
A little
that.
bit of Russian wrestling coming in.
Yeah. Well, some of it's just trying to tactics to get people on their backs, but if you put in joints in dangerous position, So Red Star will set up again with a new set, and Slobodan Manek first drive, and Danilo Kosanovic with a second. There's the two props, and they've gone to 5 metres out now, and so Russians on the back foot, miles offside, playing advantage. Is Sam going to have a full body wax?
Must be, yep, penalty now, for sure.
They'll give the penalty, no advantage for the Russian coming from an offside position. Red Star choosing to go straight in and no messing. That's Petar Milanovic scores to put Red Star over the half century. That's 52-0.
Fatigue's definitely playing a part now. There was no movement then. There was nothing coming off the line.
For sure, and you saw even when the Russians had the ball at this end, they didn't have the energy to mount any sort of attack there. Very professional, as you said. The Red Star doing the basics well. They're controlling the ruck. The props are running straight and hard, and off the back of that, they're getting the ball while the defence is not yet set. Zogovic will attempt the conversion again.
And again, forget the scoreline. This is still invaluable for the countries to be doing this and competing. And the things that the Russian side will take out of this is they're seeing the basics being done. The basics being done right. And that's all that's had to happen for now to get this. So it's a time thing.
For sure. Another successful conversion there. It's 54-0 and half-time called. And talking about that progress, I mean, we could go back to the European Under-19s Championships just a few weeks ago, and we saw how the Ukrainians, after that first game against the Welsh, it was as if it was like, aha, this is how you play rugby league, and I think they took, out of all the teams, the 8 teams competing in that European Championship, I think the Ukrainians probably took the most out of it.
100%. Seeing their growth, because we played against them after that game, so we got to see they had a lot more drive and passion. They never stopped competing. They, you know, it was fantastic.
But
And the European Cup, look, unto itself, that was a fantastic event held in Serbia. We had England, France, Italy, Scotland, Wales, Ukraine and Ireland. And the competition, it was an amazing tournament. The work the guys put in behind the scenes, and the growth of from what I could see from the Serbian guys, it was absolutely amazing. We became, I think, the first ever Serbian team to beat an Irish team in history.
Yeah, it was a historic victory.
That's something. We're about first here now. We're about growth, and all these firsts can drive things to the next level. So something like that was amazing. And the Serbian Rugby League, the tournament they put on, it was a great spectacle. Fantastic game. The final, England versus France, a great game.
It was
again.
a great match. Yeah.
And that's the level, England and France. That's where we're trying to get. They're a long way ahead, but that's what we're striving to do. And it will come. Yeah. It's going to come. It's just going to take some time. And sometimes, with what I see here, the guys here they're like sponges. Everything you give them, they take on. They're loving what we're trying to do. I can see this growing, and it's coming quick. We had a few months with these under-19s, and the potential growth, what we saw in those few months, was unbelievable, to be honest. And seeing how far they came.
Well, we were talking before about the two, the Dedic brothers at Red Star, and along with Milos Čalić and Stefan Nedeljković, the loose forward, who's a former Dortmund. He's actually a Dortmund product who now plays at Red Star. They are among the exceptions. They were 11, 12 when they started playing, rather than being 15, 16. So
that extra time is where it's at. If you look at England, Australia, New Zealand, even France to an extent, is these kids are starting at 6, 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what competition, whatever sport you play, you're 10 years in front of everyone else that started.
For sure.
So,
and that's, I mean, we need to be looking at it's certainly at the under 10s, under 9s, because for those who are starting at 14, 15, 16, no matter how many years they train, to get that those basic skills to go into their subconscious, to never think about play the ball or anything like that.
It becomes a natural progression.
Exactly.
And it starts from a kid, and so we're starting from well behind the 8 ball, trying to get into them the basics. When it's all, everywhere else has already got this from when you're 7, 8, 9, 10. Some of these guys have been playing for 6 months.
Yeah, for sure.
But the potential is there, and what I love the most is the passion and the excitement these guys have, and what you tell them, they take it and they do it. There's no questions asked. There's just a raw excitement that it tends to be lost in Australia now because it's the norm. We take this for granted.
Yeah.
We take for granted going on and running it onto an oval with grass. We can go down the park and do this. Here, where the sport's in its infancy, we can't get on an oval till after soccer finishes or whoever else.
For sure.
Everything's a fight.
We see here in Belgrade, I mean, we're both resident here, that the secondary schools and the primary schools, they don't tend to have grass pitches. That's why we see that
they're playing on concrete.
Sports in halls are so popular.
100%. And this is probably the thing that we need to look at here is the resources and what to do with it. Now, it's very hard, and especially this game, It's a different game to football. It's a different game to the basketballs, the water polo, and things like this. It's a very physical game, and a lot of the time, and this is happening in Australia. This is happening all around the world. Is the physicality is at a young age is turning kids off, is turning parents off, because it can seem quite brutal, you know, sometimes. So I think if we can work on this and maybe work through how to bring the sport to people with and there's a tag football, an Oz tag, a league tag sort of thing, where we can show the techniques but slowly bring them through on the game with using these ideas and using, because there's a league tag now in Australia that is basically rugby league but with tag. The tags, like the American football tag football.
For sure. Well, you tend to find with a lot of these who start only as teenagers playing that testosterone is element number one. It's all about the hit. Whereas when we start with the under 7s, under 8s, under 9s, it's more about looking for a gap, getting into a 2-on-1 position. You're not really thinking about biff in the contact.
Yeah. And then when the contact comes, it's, you know, it's hard to take when you've only just come into it as a young guy. And it's hard for the parents to watch this, and you know. So if we can ease the blow and bring it through slowly and teach them the proper techniques going through and all the rest, but still give them the skills of the game, because playing this game, everyone that I've seen pick it up or come and play tag, this is women, men, kids of any age, the skill level and the idea of the game, it's a great product. It's a great sport.
For sure. So we're kicking off now, second half underway in this Slavic Challenge Rugby League match between Red Star Belgrade and Spartak Moskva, brought to you by Proper Sport and Red Kangaroo Productions. What we'll be looking for, the Red Star will perhaps be trying to maintain the intensity they had in the first half, and Spartak will be looking to obviously close them down and thwart them.
Definitely try and pick up the intensity. Red Star now, if I was Red Star, I'd be trying to use some plays that you were thinking, you know, some different plays, some different options. Now's the time to try this stuff now.
So that's Stefan Nedeljkovic, went straight through there, a waning gap to score beside the post. He's a two-time Serbian Player of the Year, and also he was one of the two guys who went off and trained with Warrington Wolves last year. And I think those sorts of things as well, just getting a little bit of training time with professional clubs and what they can bring back to their squads.
5 minutes of being with a professional club, the experience is invaluable. And from what I've seen, from what I'm seeing here, and from some of the players I've seen, is if they were in a system at any professional club, they'd be playing at the highest level now. It's just, you know, we're missing out. It's, again, we're in its infancy. But this is the point of the potential is amazing. It's it is absolutely amazing.
Well, that's 58 now. This one will make it 60-0 if he kicks this. We'll expect him to. No messing straight down the middle there for Milos Sogovic.
We did a little kicking. I did a little bit of kicking with him last night on his technique. That looked perfect. I'll take some credit for that.
Oh, well, you know. I'm sure it's due. A bit of advice always helps. So Spartak Moskva will be looking at least to try and stop the rot by defending a set here. We know how our game can be quite cruel and brutal. If you can't defend a set, you end up not seeing the ball for a long time, and that's when heads go down.
100%. And once you lose your head, then it's, you know, it's a long way back. It's very hard to get back. But credit to them. I like that they're persisting with this.
Oh, and he's come up with it, and it finally, and they put that in a bit of space. The lad came at speed and yeah, took the ball. Oh, a bit of a knock on maybe, but played on, and they need to be coming at pace onto this ball. We're seeing them flat-footed and standing still a bit. We need a bit more movement from them. So knocked on there, and they're playing advantage at the moment. Red Star picked it up cleanly. And again, that was a bit of a look. A nice inside ball there for Mate Bajic. And they get eventually wrapped up by 4 of the players, but gets a quick play of the ball before the Spartak can even get set. And here's Stefan Nedeljkovic again, up the middle again. Support from Jack O'Brien, doesn't need it. Hands off, and there is Jack O'Brien, and he'll finally score under the posts there. And yeah, obviously Spartak can't handle not only the collision, but they're not wrapping this ball up, and we're seeing offloads come in.
No, we've got fatigue now. There's a big size difference here, and I think this looks like a development. There's just a side of youngsters. I think this is a future where they're looking at.
Do you think that we're going to see at some point soon a 2-tier system in this region or in Europe, so that we don't get these whitewash victories?
Well, definitely. Something has to be looked at like that. If it can happen, then definitely that's where it has to go, because you can lose some guys. Once these heads go, this is the biggest. The main thing is the mental state of where it's at, and trying to keep people interested and keep people excited about the game. This sort of thing, it can go either way.
Yeah. Well, obviously, we know rugby league, when it's competitive and at a decent level, it's a game that sells itself as a spectacle.
No doubt.
Nobody wants to see whitewash, but as we say, we're in a development area, developmental league. These things are unavoidable to an extent, but obviously, Red Star earlier this year travelled 1,000 kilometres to beat a team 110-0. We hopefully won't have to see that fixture repeated next year, but Red Star can send its reserve grade team.
No doubt, and that's where it's at, because development can then come on both sides.
Sure.
I don't think much is coming from beating anyone by 60, 70, 80 points. There's, what advantage do you get out of this? There's not much growth for both sides.
Yeah.
So definitely need to look at sending either the younger side or the second tier side, that everyone can gain something.
So
that's a fantastic. That's where it should be.
For sure. So a long kick-off there, and one of the first ones from the Spartak team, and knocked on by Sam Heron, called as a spud, as the Aussies like to say. But it was. And so Spartak will have an attacking opportunity down here.
Hopefully they do something with it here.
Yeah.
Something. They've got some space now. It'd be great to see them get over across for a try.
Let's see if we can see if they can break their duck and get rid of that donut on the scoreboard. They're passing and passing and passing. Nobody wanted to go forward, and it was just, and it ended up coming to naught with a knock on immediately. And you could see they didn't. And I think you're right. You said that they've come from a B union, but at some point, if you're playing in this half and you're at second receiver and you're turning around, you want to see 3 guys running at different angles. You don't want to see someone standing there.
Definitely. This is where it's at the moment. There has to be angles. There has to be movement. There has to be creativity.
Yeah. What I thought with the, because obviously I did some interviews for the Balkan League Insider program with the when they had the European Championships. And I was asking the foreigners what they thought of Belgrade and Serbia, and they really like it. And so I think there's Milos Ogovic, and we know he's got a step and a fend, but in the end he's happy to take the tackle.
And that's great groundwork by both of these guys, the defenders.
It's Voja Dedic. As we say, this is his first game of the season since serious injury. Nice offload. And a bit of space now for Petar Milanovic, the centre, to accelerate, and he's taking him on, and he just
dropped it cold.
Yeah, ball security there. He seemed to be too keen on handing off.
He was ready to pass.
Yeah. And you know, I think that this country and this region is for whether it's amateur or semi-professional clubs from France and the UK, for them to consider coming over here, playing against some of the top teams in the region, and that can help us maintain a development trajectory for your Red Stars, Partisans and Dortals.
100%.
And it also helps us to gauge where is Red Star at? Where is it at now? Is it at a level where it would be? Could it compete with Mittagong? You know, could it? Is it New South Wales?
100%. And this is where they need to happen, these games.
Yeah.
And then once you do find where you're at, then you can adjust accordingly.
Yeah.
So and the awareness that England sides or French sides would bring coming over, especially, you know, giving them a good game, you know.
Yeah.
But how do you know until you try it?
For
And
sure.
once you get that awareness, then it can come.
Yeah.
Then we can see where we're at. Then we can see who to use, and development can come from this. But it definitely has to be done.
Yeah. There's Petar Milanovic and scored there very easily. But after a nice run from young Marko Jankovic, and as you said, boys just coming into the game, he's been less than a year in the game, came out of basketball and was in your squad and actually played, got some game time
Yeah,
in
he
the
did get some
European
game time.
Championship.
Yeah. There's some great, and this is the beauty of, like we were talking about before, is they're athletes. These guys are athletes here. And once they and the passion they have. So once it bites them, this bug, they're all in.
Yeah.
And when you're all in, no matter what you do, you're going to do it well, and you're willing to learn and willing to grow. And this is the beauty of it. These guys, the things we've been doing, they've taken it on, and they're happy to run with it. They're enjoying it. They're bought in, and we're looking to play something more than, you know. As I look at it, it's rugby league is stagnated to an extent. It's become very robotic. It's become statistically, you know, how many meters, how many completed sets, you know, it's
How many
a
borderline
copy-paste.
obstruction block plays?
100%. You know, where does this go?
Yeah.
And that's exactly the point, right?
Yeah.
These plays, look, they changed the rules to accommodate this play.
Yeah.
They've had to add rules and had to make changes to the rules that are set in place for 100 and something years.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm trying to bring something different.
Yeah.
And I think with that comes excitement from guys. And once you get them excited, and once they buy into what you're trying to do, the games, it goes in evolutions.
Of course. And as you say, and of course, whether we're talking about Asia, this Balkan region, Europe, or North America, new people come into the sport, see things that we don't see.
No doubt. And this is the thing, learning comes from anywhere.
So Milos Zogovic, successful conversion there, and we're going to have a kick-off again. This is a Red Star Belgrade vs Spartak Moskva, brought to you by Proper Sport and Red Kangaroo Productions. And the last kick-off we had was fumbled. He's a mile offside, this lad, but nobody seems to mind. And
I think
And
Red Star knock on.
he's called the knock-on against Red Star. Well, well, a bit of luck for Spartak. They could do with a bit of luck.
No doubt.
This time we'll see if we can have if we have anybody coming in some interesting angles in this line, or whether they're just going to pass it along until someone gets smashed. Ball comes out clean, dropped, picked up, and gets smashed by Sam Heron in the back, but manages to keep hold of the ball. What's he called?
Bit of
It's
work
called
on the head, maybe a little bit of overdone, or offside.
Offside. I think the defensive line from the scrum were offside. This lad got smashed, but he seems to be okay. And
A penalty always makes everything okay. in football or rugby league, I think it's the same, is it not?
yeah, it's like ointments. So Spartak will kick it into touch, and we'll start their set in really strong attacking position, just 10 metres out from the Red Star line. And again, we would all like to see the Spartak team get off the mark here with some sort of a score.
Well, there's some talk. There's some talk in the middle from the big guys. So let's see what they've got.
We're tapping and going, and there's the first drive.
He's a strong boy, this guy.
Yeah, he's strong, but in the end, they managed to slow the ruck down well, and he doesn't seem too keen on playing it fast. And Milos Djokovic, straight out of the line, knew where that was going, and took him out. And there we go, a bit of movement, bit of change of angle, well wrapped up in the middle there by Marko Jankovic and Vlada Dedic, and they're going back to the short side again now. And Petar Milanovic, that's not the first time today. He's had a hit but no stick, and thankfully he got some support from teammates Mate Bajic and Danilo Kosanovic. Good angle. He came on a nice, interesting angle, but couldn't keep the ball, and no advantage. And Red Star will have the scrum.
I think we can pretty surely say that this is a rugby union background, most of these guys, because you've got the main playmaker wearing number 10, which is a standoff in rugby union. And I know a lot of guys are superstitious around the rugby league, rugby union, any sport world, so he's possibly asked to have his number 10.
Yeah, possibly. So it's Sam Herron going up the middle and making good yards, bringing 2-3 defenders into him. And here's Atsa Djordjevic. He's a tackling machine, he's Atsa Djordjevic, and couldn't get much momentum going there. Got his ankle snatched.
And I suppose we're talking of the rugby union. If these guys are coming and playing, then that's a great sign that where they want to be and what they want to do. You know?
Well, it's in some ways, whether we like it or not, or whether they like it or not, which I'm sure they don't. We're helped in our development by the existence of rugby union in some of these countries.
It's
and
vice versa. It works. It's been working both ways for many years, and it's a struggle that, you know, ebbs and flows every year, depending on Rugby World Cups and the like, you know.
So speaking of rugby union, is dual international Alexander Djordjevic, and that's good yards up the middle. And there's Marko Jankovic, and he'll be looking to go over under the sticks, but eventually wrapped up, gets to play the ball. Wayward pass there from dummy half, but Big Brother picks it up.
There's some space on the left too, if he can get it out
back
to
this
Ilya.
way, and he's seen that Ilya Krstić has got some
Great
space.
tackle, he's got
Nobody
it away.
Left the ball behind him.
Oh, great defence.
Yeah, in the end they scrambled very well. I think if the ball from Voya could have just been maybe out in front of Ilya, so they didn't have to check.
Yeah.
But yeah, you see the Red Star know where the space is. They're moving to it. They're playing what's in front of them. They're certainly not playing to any sort of a pattern without looking.
And this is where this comes now. This is the perfect opportunity to play what's in front and to get that game sense, because this is what is lacking now in the game with where it's at now statistically, and what we were talking about before is playing what's in front is basically gone out the window now. Yeah. So this is a great chance to try and take advantage of that and use your vision and see.
A good run there from the Russian prop, but he obviously a little bit uncomfortable in the tackle and struggling to get to his feet. We're saying how we're going to gauge where we are. Well, at the end of this season, at the moment we're looking to perhaps Wigan St Patrick's team coming over to take on Red Star at the end of the season. So that's something we'd like to see. They're obviously what you would call a traditional amateur club in the north of England. So, and January 2019, Red Star should. Oh, Kegley, and he's broken away down the touchline, and in the end, Milos Djokovic corralled him towards the touchline and bundled him into touch. And it was a good run, good break from the Russian. And he's been one of the most dangerous players. He was the one who took the ball. He's been a hard runner. Somebody, what is this?
Vladislav Kot.
Yeah, Vladislav Kot. So yeah, and in the end, Milos did well to guide him towards the touchline and corral him out there. And as I was saying, January next year, Red Star are probably going to play in the first round of the famous Challenge Cup. So that will also give us an idea of seeing not only where Red Star are, but where the other teams that are competing regularly against Red Star are.
Definitely, that's something. Oh, that would amazing if that can happen. And this is what this is about now. It's testing the grounds. It's testing the waters.
Sure.
Where are you? What have you got to do? So potentially, if that can happen, then potentially, no matter what happens from this, it's a start. This is all about growth.
Sure. So some good running up the middle there from Milos Čalić and now from Mate Bajic, and Red Star now have got the Russians going backwards again, and Voja Dedic to Jakob Bryan.
4-on-2.
Should have maybe given the ball immediately, didn't.
Still
Pick
4-on-2.
and Milos. And unforced error there.
White line fever.
Yeah, and in the end they ended up getting in each other's way. They had so many numbers. But yeah, a lot of the times as well, we're talking about very basic rugby league level, where just that idea of counting the numbers, and again, you were talking about tag. So Spartak, we're looking to clear their lines here. It's 68-0.
Well, the positive thing I'm seeing out of this from them is they're still having a go. They just tried to spread it on their own goal line, which is fantastic. So they haven't given up, which is testament to them.
For sure. So they earn a penalty there, and they'll be looking to kick this to touch, I should think, and get out of there, and then to have what we would call here a get-out set, just to clear their lines here and get a bit of breathing space between them and Red Star. But as you said, they've been very game throughout this.
Well, hopefully they continue doing it, and this is the place. If you're going to be game, this is the place to do it. There's nothing to lose, and you can sometimes get that unexpected. It's not expected to be doing anything but a get-out set, like you said. So why not try and shift it and have a go?
Yeah.
And they look like they're setting up for something wide.
But no, and again, it was the referee. It's a 50-50. He could have penalised that for a dangerous tackle. They did lift him off the ground, but you know, if you do lift a player off the ground, you've got a duty of care to put him down safely.
If the duty of care comes in, then it's not too bad. They can get away with it sometimes.
So from the scrum again, not bit of a player here. Jakob Bryan, he's got options. He's got Milos Čalić coming. He's got Alex Djordjevic, but well wrapped up. Play the ball. We've got Vlada Dedic at first receiver and Stefan Nedeljkovic. Well wrapped up there.
Right side, there's about 8 of them out there for 3.
Yeah, they've got numbers out there, but he's come back on the inside instead, and Milos Čalić is not going to be stopped from there, and that makes it 72. We've gone over the 70 mark, and it's simple stuff. That's brilliant. And yeah, Spartak will be kicking themselves there just for not holding on to that ball. It's one of the most important things in this game. And you mentioned maybe some of these guys come from Abuni. In that game, I believe possession's not as important as territory and position.
Definitely not. And it becomes you're protected because there's the guys are coming in when you have got the ball and coming around and protecting the ball around you. So you have support, you're turning back inside to recycle constantly. So you've always got someone there. This one-on-one stuff where they've got to just keep the ball themselves and keep control of it, it's tough.
Well, that's what we always say. There's nowhere to hide on a rugby league pitch. And it's another successful conversion from Milos Ogrovic, so it makes it 74-0 to Red Star. Spartak will be digging deep within themselves to try and lift themselves here for this last 20-odd minutes or so.
Very tough, very tough.
But
Some
no,
good signs, like we were talking before, some good signs that they're still trying to attack, they're still throwing the ball around. Let's see what sort of kick-off they get. If they're still happy to go short and try again to get it back, there's nothing to be lost here.
no. Well, no, and I'm always for the idea that whoever's prepared to get on a rugby league pitch and take a hit is worthy of praise. You know.
Everyone that walks out here is worthy of praise. There's, like you said before, there's nowhere to hide.
So here we go. Nice stop trapped by Ilya Krstic, and takes the tackle, coming away from the touchline, and they'll be looking to go towards the middle of the park. Here's Nikola Juric, and he's been solid as well. Always seems to beat the first man.
Ilya, one of the young under-19s from the European Cup, he's been fantastic and come along. He's grown so much.
Well, we were talking about development, and there's Vojvodedic, and made a break, and he's ran clear. Nobody's going to stop him there. And nice way to crown his comeback after 6 months out. As we were saying earlier, so that makes it 78.
It's good to see. It's good to see him actually. He's contained himself well here, being a comeback match. That he's done just what he needed to do, and just like this, he's created, and now the opportunity arose and he took it. So it's good to see him. There's a lot of guys coming back. You know, your first touches, you want to be involved in everything. You know, so it's been good to see him be able to temper himself.
Definitely. Well, we're talking about the development of the game, development of players earlier on, and when you're looking at your prop second row centres at this level, within 6 months to a year, you can get someone doing a good job. But when it comes to the spine,
the spine is the most crucial and the hardest thing to get anywhere in the world.
Yeah. It's such a long-term investment to
100%.
create a halfback or a
100%. And it's getting harder and harder because the vision and playing what's in front now is nearly taken out of the game because it's structure.
Yeah.
So it's becoming harder and harder. And I'm a halfback, and I came from an era of you play what's in front. You look, you create, you try things, and now from what I see is there's not many left. You know? I think if you look at it, probably Jonathan Thurston, Andrew Johns was one that kept it alive and took it to a whole other level. And now Jonathan Thurston is probably the last of a dying breed that actually looks and reads what's in front. The rest it's becoming
automatons.
Yeah, it is.
So it's
Exactly that.
it's 80-0 in this Slavic Challenge Rugby League match, and kicking off again. The Spartak team, and they've had some difficult kickoffs, unpredictable kickoffs to handle all day. And so welcome back again to Belgrade. This is I'm Mark Pullen. I've got with me Brett Davidson from the Serbian national team setup. This is broadcast of Proper Sport and Red Kangaroo Productions, and this is just the first actually. Proper Sport will be looking to bring you the culmination of the Serbian and the Balkan leagues this year, so we should have another 5 matches or so over the next month and a half to 2 months. Serbia also, between now and the end of the season, we'll have some international matches.
Yeah,
France.
we possibly have 2, could be 2 against Wales. Then we have France, and they're the lead-ups to the World Cup qualifiers. We have Russia in Moscow on the 13th of October, and then we play Spain in Belgrade on the 20th of October. And that hopefully the top 2 qualify for the next round of the World Cup. So
Well, that'd be good to see. I mean, Serbia and Russia have been on par with each other for about the last 10 years of this development, and we've seen, Serbia beat Russia recently for the first time, but it's always been close. Spain, complete unknown entity as far as I know.
I don't look, again, I'm only through hearsay. I know what's going on, but Spain, unknown. I think Serbia has never beaten Russia in Russia. Is what I think.
I think that's right.
So again, this is what we're aiming for, is firsts, and these are the drivers that we're looking for, and if we can do that, then everyone would take everyone to another level.
For sure.
And it is exciting times. From what I've seen, not only I've worked with the men now and the juniors as well.
Yep.
From what I've seen and from where it's going, I'm quite confident in what we're trying to build here. Is going to be something special. There's definitely something brewing here, without a doubt.
For sure, and I mean, as I've been resident in this country for 16 years, and I've always said that all the former Yugoslavs and the Balkan people, not just the Serbs, are built for this game. They have a culture of team ball sports and a culture of combat sports. So you put them together.
Oh, it's the perfect mix.
Yeah. Well, that was, I mean, one of our products who's now in France, Vladica Nikolic. He grew up playing judo, and then came into rugby league. And
again, perfect mix of the wrestling judo type. This is what we do here. Yeah. We're actually training wrestling, MMA fighting, on how to take people to the ground and how to control them on the ground.
So again, this the flatmates combined.
A great ball, and again from ball movement and angles, he held it up long enough. Some angles cutting back inside, held the defence up, and then a great line from Sam hitting the hole.
Again, it's a lot of this game's about timing and about counting your numbers and timing your runs.
It is.
There is Ilya Krstic. We were talking about this, bringing spines to, and Ilya's obviously playing on the wing for the Red Star first team, but
he played 5'8" for the under-19 side.
Yeah, and that's what I mean with me at the reserve team of Red Star. He's obviously the halfback, and nowadays we have this different role between a 6 and a 7. A 6 is with a lot of clubs like some unpredictable player with the flair and the invention, whereas the number 7 is the manager.
No doubt.
A lot of these players, because you're talking to guys who are physically a lot bigger than you, it's to get somebody at number 7 to really manage the team and lead them around the park. That's what we see here when we see teams coming over from Australia or the UK or France. We can hear the talk constantly.
This is the main thing is the talk. I'll say this to the cows come home: is preacher communication is the ultimate of skill in the game. If you can get a hold on this and a handle on this, then definitely.
Okay, so we're going to kick off again now. This is Red Star Belgrade versus Spartak Moskva, brought to you by Proper Sport and Red Kangaroo Productions. We got the latest kick-off. The sun's gone in, thankfully. It was a rust in first hour. And well picked up on the half volley there, and Slobodan Manek.
Great step from the older fella.
Yeah, he's a big man. He has got a bit of a step. And then we've got Milos Čalić. Difficult to stop, difficult to put down. And he'll stand there all day if you don't put him down. But manages to get the ball away. And there's Jack O'Brien. He's going at the line and gives it to Nikola Juric. Bit of a dummy and a fend, and he goes through. Good run from him. Good quick play. The ball, the short side stacked here. Jack's again got Sam with him. Doesn't need him. Goes stack inside. Keeps handing off, and eventually he's put down. And surely that's a penalty. He's had another go at him. Yeah, and eventually the referee agrees. It was trying to bring him back down after the tackle was completed, and Red Star won't mess around. They'll set the tap straight away, and it's Vlada Dedic to Stefan Adokovic to Voja Dedic to Predrag Keglic, straight out to Rajko Trifunovic, and forward pass called there by the linesman on the far side.
It was a great movement, great setup.
Yeah, it was easy. I mean, maybe they were giving the passes a little bit too early instead of going to the line a little bit more. But
and this is the thing with the block play, is it seems like it's a very simple play, but to get it right, everything has to be going in your favour, and that is also dependent on the line speed of the defence, and whoever's holding the ball, whoever's running with the ball, taking it to the line and picking the right time to pass, and then the runners running the right lines as well. So it seems easy, but to be effective, maybe 20% of the time, it actually is the effective. It allows for a slide if it's not done properly.
Well, it was an interesting play there from the Russian team, changing angles back towards the scrum, and they did find a bit of space, not much. And again, they're switching it back inside, but nice tackle from Predrag Keglic. He gets rid of it there, step and dummy. Jack O'Brien wraps him up, no problems. Nicola Juric's coming in to help, and he's lost it. And unfortunately, the Spartak team losing possession, and Red Star will have a great attacking position here. I believe the score's 86-0. And Milos Zogovic coming from the fullback spot to go into the hooker there, create some more space outside.
The open side.
They have. There's again with the cut-out pass, 2 cutouts, and Voja Dedic has found himself in a bit of traffic. They bring him down, but he'll be straight to his feet and trying to play that ball. That's for sure.
Got a few big loose props on the far left here. If they can work to them with the smaller guys, which they're coming to now, there's space out on the left.
Well, they'd spaced both sides in the end, and it ended up an easy put down for Rajko Trifunovic in the corner. There was space both sides there. The Russians not scrambling very well, seeming to bunch it. Because Red Star's got such potent threats up the middle with these big props, you can see them bunching in the middle and overlaps on both sides. 4? That's full body wax, mate.
I heard last night.
So another score for Red Star, and that makes it 90-0. I mean, we'd rather not really have these sort of scorelines, but as we've said before, it's one of the toughest conversion attempts of the day for Milos Zogovic when he's on his wrong side, and from the far side. So we'll see what your goal kicking advice did for him.
Oh, he put the pressure on now. This is where we were kicking from last night, actually.
Yeah. See how he's got that. Maybe done. Oh,
he's got it.
Oh, he has got it. Yeah, well done, Brett.
Bravo. We even worked on the double bounce off the post.
Yeah.
We tried that.
Yeah, they're very popular on social media.
Definitely. You've got to give the fans what they love.
So here we are in the Serbian capital of Belgrade. It's a beautiful summer's day here. A little bit humid, but thankfully the sun's gone behind the clouds now, so not so oppressive. We've had a chance to see how Spartak kicked the ball off quite a lot today. they've mixed it up.
They have mixed it up, which has been great.
I think they're going to go along here. All offside. The referee had the back to him, so no man's land. Nobody calls it. In the end, Nikola Juric picks it up and is wrapped up. Here's Ilya Krstic having a little scoot and making good yards, and eventually finding his stomach, which is what you need. Third tackle, Slobodan Manek. We know he can be elusive for a big man, and also gets the offload back to the hooker Vlada Dedic. Stefan Nedeljkovic giving up, and again Predrag Kedelic is now into space, and he's got Rajko Trifunovic with him, and again
I think that was forward, yeah.
And it's the same combination. It's the Predrag Kedelic to Rajko Trifunovic called a forward pass. Red Star basically breaking the line at will now.
And again, second phase. An offload, and this is what it can create, the offload.
And you know, if these have come from Abuni, as I said, they tend to tackle low, which means offload,
It's available.
offload, offload.
It's always an option.
So see if they go back again to this angle. They are coming back across the middle. Well wrapped up in the end. They should think about doing his own job instead of pushing him off. And Sam Heron timed that one to perfection. Kid had nowhere to go but backwards. And looking, here we go, they're stacking the short side. Nice step from this guy, he's a big lad.
There's a couple of numbers down the short side if they
want to come this way, but they don't. Just looking to survive at the moment. They're going, they don't really have much numbers out that way, but they've found some space, and we've seen this kid in this clear before. Oh, he's a great step to get away from Rajko Trifunovic. He'll have to come away from the touchline, or they're going to shepherd him out there.
great
And they
footwork
do.
again from the young fella.
Yeah. He's got a lot of potential, this.
Definitely.
And there's the full-time whistle. And the Russians finish it on top, but ultimately a comprehensive 92-0 victory for Red Star in this Slavic Challenge Rugby League match here in Belgrade. Brett, I hope you'll be able to join us again for some of the future commentary. If
I
you're
look
around.
forward to it, mate, definitely.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us. This has been Proper Sport and Red Kangaroo broadcast, and we hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you again. I'm Mark Bullen. Thank you very much.
Pare, ti Miloš, za kusur.
Ne znam, treba sad pehare, hoćeš to da komentarišeš ili da ti sečem? Da ti sečem.
Mirko, maši tom zastavu. Mirko! Tamo i maši.
Malo levo, malo levo, 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 levo. Van kadra si, Mirko. Moraš još levo. To je to. O, bravo, u kadru si. Držiš na meni, prebaci na mene. Drži na mene par sekundi pa vrati na ovo. Ako insistira. Prebaci na vrh, ja samo snimim publiku. Mirko, okej. Žujić. Rezultat kad je 2-0.
Ostavi kameru tako.
Samo malo telefon.